The thief had just been thrown into prison when he shouted that he was innocent and claimed that the guard beside him was the real thief. At first, the inspector was indeed very suspicious, so he checked every guard in the prison, but found nothing unusual. Only then did the inspector confirm that the one in the cell was the real master thief Lupin. But with Lupin's IQ of 600, this prison shouldn't have been able to hold him. But as the execution time drew nearer, Lupin took no action to escape. He shouted every day that the guard was the thief, which puzzled the inspector greatly. He had been chasing Lupin for 25 years. He couldn't believe Lupin would be executed so easily. Finally, the execution date arrived, but Lupin still only shouted that he wasn't a criminal and claimed the guard was the real Lupin. Then the inspector brought a priest to read Lupin his last rites, but what he didn't know was, the priest was actually a companion of Lupin in disguise. As soon as he entered the cell, he handed Lupin a pistol. However, Lupin refused. He told the priest to wait for him at the main gate. After the priest and inspector left, a sharp point sliced through Lupin's clothes. It turned out that when he was imprisoned, the guards hadn't checked the blade he'd hidden under his nail. Lupin had countless chances to escape over the year, but he gave them all up. He deliberately waited until the last day to carry out his plan. Just as Lupin was shaving, the inspector suddenly returned. Lupin took the opportunity to make his request. He wanted to tidy his beard before dying. The inspector didn't suspect a thing and agreed immediately. But the moment the guard walked into the cell, Lupin took him hostage directly. The next second, the prison alarm went off. The inspector rushed into the cell in excitement, but Lupin hadn't escaped at all. He just kept shouting that he wasn't a criminal. Then two guards took him to carry out the execution. Just as the inspector was about to leave, the guard beside him suddenly called out, "Uncle." Only then did the inspector realize that the guard in front of him was the real Lupin. It turned out that Lupin had kept shouting he wasn't a criminal all year just to wait for this moment, so that when the Real guard spoke up, no one would believe him. The inspector panicked immediately. He rushed to save that guard. Then Lupin calmly walked out of the prison. The reason he spent a whole year doing this was simply because when he was first caught, the inspector's smug look had made him angry. So Lupin had planned to torment the inspector for this entire year.